As we head into the holiday shopping season, you can expect to see some empty shelves. And while the backlog is starting to ease at some U.S. ports, increased demand and residual supply chain issues could make it harder to find those certain gifts you're looking to put under your tree. For more on what we can expect as we start our shopping, I want to bring in Keesa Schreane. She's a global partner director at the London Stock Exchange Group. Okay, for those of us doing our shopping online and likely probably pretty late, how can we expect these supply chain issues to impact when we're going to get our gifts or what gifts are even available?
You know, in terms of when we're going to get gifts, we're seeing that shipping delays are massive, whether you're on the business side, who you're trying to send things out to the consumer, or whether you're on the consumer side trying to receive these gifts and ship those out. Basically, Christina, shipping containers were stuck in different places for a long period of time. But at that same time, our demand for goods to send out gifts, to create home offices over the past 2 years, our demand has continued to increase. So consumers are really feeling the impacts of massive shipping delays, and we can expect this to be the case through the holiday season and even into 2022.
Is it just that people have shifted where they're spending their money? I mean, like people like me who've had the same crummy IKEA furniture for the last 20 years, finally couldn't take it anymore. I went to order a chair this week and they said, okay, we'll deliver it in March. So is it the change in spending habits, or is it the logistical supply chain issue, or is it both these things coming to a head?
Well, there are a few things, Christina. You mentioned that there are logistical supply chain issues. That is a reality. Also, we know that labor has changed. We know that in many cases, businesses just weren't able to find the people to help them produce and deliver these goods. And, you know, also in the Schreane household, we've been hoping for a dryer over the past several months. Like many households, we just haven't been able to receive it. That's an issue that really brings together the supply chain logistics of not having the products, not having the pieces to produce the products, as well as labor shortages that we've seen over the last several months.
So how much longer do we think this is going to last? How much longer will you have clothing, I'm assuming, hanging over every surface of your house, and I'll be sitting on the floor for 6 months, a year? How long?
Yeah, you're right. We have learned to drip dry at the Schreane household. How long is this going to be? You know, we're thinking into 2022. But Christina, many businesses have started to look at supply chain differently. They don't see this as a one-time issue. They see ongoing supply chain management is needed. And this can benefit consumers because those businesses that have products on the shelves, the virtual shelves, as well as the real life shelves, the consumers are quick to flock there. So that's great for the consumer, but also it's an opportunity for businesses. They can keep those consumers coming even after the pandemic situation subsides.
Now, how much more money do we think people are going to have to spend this season? We've seen the consumer price indexes up, things, cars, furniture, those prices are really spiking. And again, is this going to be short-lived, or do we expect this to normalize if and when those supply chain issues you just walked us through are remedied?
Well, you know, the UN Conference on Trade and Development, they're saying that due to the surge in container freight rates, that possible increases in consumer prices could look to be 1.5% plus as we head into 2022 and into 2023. Also, Christina, we know that inflation is a key factor here. So again, it's really not one factor, but several factors creating this scenario that likely will take us into at least the next 12 to 18 months.
So even if I can get my chair, it's probably going to be more expensive than it would have been if I'd ordered it when I should have 6 months ago. Okay, thanks for the good news. How are companies dealing with this backlog? Is there a specific way they're trying to handle it, or does it differ by industry?
Well, we see that in many different industries, there are different ways to counter this in terms of cost. Many of us see that things are a lot more expensive, and that's because some companies have let those costs flow down to consumers. Other companies say, we're going to try to reduce our operating costs, and that's how we're going to reduce the cost and make sure it doesn't get down to consumers. But which industries are impacted, Christina? Tons. I mean, really, if you're an industry where goods or products are manufactured, then you're impacted. automobiles, electronics, paint manufacturers. I even heard months ago that there was an issue finding the color blue. So if you wanted to paint your home in a blue color, you'd have to wait. So many industries are impacted, and this is going to, again, happen and throughout the duration of the next 18 months at least.
All right, Keesa Schreane, I will send positive thoughts to the dryer delivery entities, and for anyone out there who needs blue paints, you know, our hearts go out to you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Christina.
Someday it's going to happen. Thank you.